Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the tavern. How's everybody doing tonight?
What is going on? It's a good night.
It is a good night. Another good weekend on the golf course. But first, we're in the tavern. It's our first round. What's everybody drinking tonight? Steve, what do you got?
I'm reaching for one right now. I've got a little Sam Adams Cold Snap. I'm just fighting out some scurvy tonight with some oranges.
Nice. I'm going with some Bardstown, their Origin Series, their new one. It is fantastic, I will say. This is maybe one of my new favorites. And Dave?
I'm drinking one of my favorite Whistle Pig, and this is the Farm Stock Series, but the Iowa edition.
I like it.
Whistle Pig's become one of my kind of go-tos, and finding an Iowa batch was kind of exciting.
Hey, it's good. You turned me on to Whistle Pig, and their whiskey is fantastic.
I do have to think my Whistle Pig addiction began with Mac. Let's just say that.
Oh, you're gonna give Mac the credit on that one. All right.
Mac gets some credit there.
I trust Mac's opinion, so that's a good one.
Well, it was Mac's friends.
Well, we'll say it came from Mac. We'll give Mac the credit on that one. So,
but
all right. Well,
can I point something out before we get started here? How do we let Steve become our technical guru for all of this?
He just had the stuff, so it just by default. So he signed up for the account. That's really what it is. So just really by default there. But
okay.
All right, well, let's get into last week, the Honda Classic, the last year for the Honda as the lead sponsor, which is the longest running lead sponsor on the PGA Tour. What, 43 years? Is that right?
42 years.
Yeah.
42 years. So let's get right into our picks. So Steve, how'd you do this week?
Yeah, my homer pick didn't homer for me.
Yeah,
he went home. Your homer pick went home.
He went home.
The long-term scoring on what happened there, Steve.
That's a 70-pointer if you miss the cut, because 65 and ties makes the cut, so you get 70 for missing the cut.
70 for missing the cut. Got it.
Yep.
70.
I'll add that into the scores.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep.
So
that was a swing and a miss there. I'm gonna need to pick it up this week at the API.
Yeah.
I
finished a nice tie for 42nd at 2 under.
Don't go against our sponsor from our guest last week.
Yeah.
I got a T5.
Yeah.
So
you did get a T5. That was good by Sepp last week. That was a great week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did not let me down. I was hoping for the W for him, but I'll take fifth.
Yeah, it puts you in the lead.
Does it really?
Yes, it does.
Nice. I will take
I'm not picking first. I like it.
No, you were not picking first.
But with that was a hell of a tournament for the
what a finish on 18.
Let's just go a couple ideas here. They had compared to the last 2 weeks and what the next 2 weeks are going to become, the Honda had no field. I mean, let's be real.
No,
that's true.
And you get a more exciting, and let's talk through it here. A much more exciting finish than what happened on the Live Tour, where Charles Howell ran away with the tournament on Live.
Liv had other interesting things happen, but it was in the gallery.
Did you catch the what was it? Their shot tracer?
No, I did not.
They had a shot tracer that went like way off to the left, and the ball was nowhere near that shot tracer. It was the funniest.
Also, it's like listening to Joe Buck call a baseball game.
Pretty much.
Well, there's that.
We're gonna do a little tonight.
I mean, yeah, there's that. But yeah, I mean, I think that Honda got the finish I think we all hope for. Eric Cole gets engaged on the 18th tee at Pebble Beach a few weeks ago on tour, and then decides to finish second this week. I mean, he just paid for his wedding. So yeah, I mean, you know what? Great for him. Great finish this week. Should help him lock up his card for another year after a 34-year-old PGA Tour rookie. So that's a cool thing for him. Cool story. Cool for Kirk comes out, gets a W, stayed with Sepp last year. They both went to college together. So two Georgia guys went back-to-back years. I'm wearing a shirt from a golf course Georgia that is, as of this week, a month away. We'll just say that. Not that any of the three of us are counting on that.
No,
but
no, not at all.
Not at all. So, but they, I think the idea that it was a great week, it was a great tournament, it was an exciting tournament. The Bear Trap showed what the Bear Trap shows every year. Is one of the hardest 3-stretch holes in golf. The Florida swing is filled with great 3-hole stretches at the end of tournaments. When you think about it, between the Bear Trap, you come this week to Arnold's Place, 16, 17, 18 are 3 great holes. Next week, you get the Players, 16, 17, and 18. And then you go to Valspar, where you have the Snake Pit at Valspar. And so when you look at the Florida stretch, I mean, they're known for 3 great holes at the end of the round that you got to play well. And you got to play some good golf on that stretch of holes.
So I'm going to ask you a question here, just going off that. We got all these great finishing holes that are coming up here, because the finishing hole at the Honda this week at the Bear Trap is a great hole to finish on, and it's had some unbelievable finishes on it, even though this one was in a playoff. But what of these courses, what would you say is the top finishing hole in your opinion?
I would say, having played all but PGA National, I've played the other 3. I'm going to take 18 at Sawgrass. To me, it's the hardest tee shot in the planet. And you've got to be able to turn the ball over, but not overturn it. And I know we'll talk about this next week. I mean, I've been inside the ropes, and I've seen guys on the cut number there as a scorer look at me as we're going to the 18th tee and say, "What's the number?" And you say you're on it, and watch their player hook a ball into the water, each of them, and know they're packing it up and going home. So I think that is the pressure when it comes to 18 at Sawgrass, and what's on the line with the players. I've got to say 18 at Sawgrass is the best finishing.
Okay. All right. That's good. I got to agree. It's that has the best, I think, the best 3-hole stretch right there.
And I have to say, funny enough, as I say it's the hardest, it's still the only one of those finishing holes that I've birdied.
Okay.
How many putts did it take you to birdie?
Just one. I hit one to 3 feet. I stuffed one there. So
I've birdied 18 at Bay Hill. So
I've lipped out birdie twice on 18 at Bay Hill. But yeah,
I made par. I can take it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's good for you, Dave.
Yeah.
You know what we're not going to have to watch this week at Bay Hill?
Bryson waiting for the green for everybody to get on the green to hit driver downwind.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. I'm so happy. I kind of want to see it, but I also don't want to see it. So
yeah.
I think the Rory line isn't as impressive. Let's be real. The line that Bryson takes is pretty impressive down there downwind. But at the end of the day, we talk about pace of play, and we talk about keeping up, and him waiting and sitting there just kills pace of play, and any momentum anybody in his group has.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he does kills pace of play, from overreading things and just anything that he did. It's always just a slower round when you're playing behind him. So,
correct.
But with that, let's lead into the next week, into the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So we got that coming up, and
it's just what a fun tournament Arnie's event is.
Correct.
And we've been to it how many times?
I know,
a whole bunch. It's we all used to live right by there, and that was a great tournament to go to. I mean, and just fun to the players have a great time with the fans there. So if you got kids, if you are a golfing dad, this is a great tournament to bring your kids to, because
and actually kids get autographs. And kids get in free with a paid adult admission at Bay Hill.
And
so you don't have to worry about buying a ticket.
It's a great place to go, not only to watch a tournament, to go see a pro-am.
Yeah,
it's a great. You get
I'm waiting for my. I'll be honest. I'm waiting for my email to see when I'm caddying in the pro-am on Wednesday. Actually, I'm going to be out there caddying. So, Dave, I wish you were going to be there on 14 for autographs, so you could hand me a beverage of choice as I walk by. But you won't be able to be there. So,
a beverage and a bag of sunflower seeds.
Amen on that.
But yeah, I mean, it's such a great event out there that Arnie put on over the years, and now that his legacy keeps this going, it's It's a great course. It's a fun event to be in. Has a great pro-am that's in it. And Dave and I have some stories from that pro-am that are pretty funny. But
Tiger
let's
did.
get in. What?
Tiger did. Dave, Tiger did. We'll leave that alone for another day. All right, so our picks this week. Greg, you're in first place now, so you go first.
I am in first place. So being in first place is tough. And you know what? I think he's due. He hasn't won in a while. Based on his standards, I'm going with Rambo.
Shock. I mean, he hasn't won in what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, exactly. He's due. He's due. So I'm gonna take him and just take my my Rambo bye this week. That's what I'm taking. So I'm calling it my Rambo bye. I'm gonna get a good top 10 finish.
David, am I in second, Dave, or are you?
Let me see here. I think with your miscut last week bumped me up.
Ooh.
I went from first to third. Nice. Back of the bus time.
Yeah.
Let's go, Dave. What do you got?
Yeah, let me hear. I got a tie for 63, a tie for 29th, the 20th, the 42nd. No, Steve, you still got me.
Oh yeah, Steve.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I still got you. I'm gonna take another flyer. It's someone they've shown a lot this week with the drive that he takes on 6, and I'm gonna go with Rory.
Yeah, I was about to say what you said. I'll take that.
Now let's see. John Rahm, you're getting 6.5. Rory, you're getting 9.
Okay.
Oh.
Are you going to go with the other one and just take the defending champ, Dave? I mean, really?
That's actually, I think, would be a fun little fight for us this week.
Yeah,
I like that pick.
I thought about taking Scotty. I'm down between 3 picks, and I think you're right. I think I'm going to take Scotty.
There you go.
All right.
So I was thinking Zalatoris or Finau.
Oh, not bad picks.
No,
not bad. I don't like Tony this week.
No, I don't like the way the course sets up for him.
No, you got to move the ball a lot right to left out there in order to play well. That's why Rory plays well all the time out there. So yeah. I think that is a
maybe Tony in Texas if he goes, but
San Antonio the week before Augusta.
Yeah.
It's a Bombers golf course. It's wide open. You can hit it anywhere. Not a bad pick there.
Get him some confidence before he gets into Augusta.
I don't know. Some of us are far enough along in full swing to wonder if he's still going to be traveling with his family all the way there and then back to Georgia. But that's a different story because Steve hasn't made it that far yet.
I haven't. I haven't made it that far.
It's a good reference.
Come on. I've been busy in the day job, so that's been
golf is hard.
Golf is hard, yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's not a bad pick. So let's talk. We got a little bit of time before our guest joins us tonight. We've all been to Bay Hill. What's your favorite hole at Bay Hill and why?
I like 8.
God, 8 gives me nightmares.
I know, but that's what I like about it. 8 is such a well-designed hole that you have to hit a smart tee shot, and then you got to hit a smart approach shot to that.
That has to be in the fairway, because if you hit it in the rough, you're literally hitting wedge out. Like that may be the thickest rough on the golf course every year.
And if you're short and behind the trees there, or if you're long and in the other rough, like that's tough. You got the water in front of the green. The green slopes down from back to front. Like that is one of my favorite designed holes I've ever played. But I just love the way that number 8 is designed on Bay Hill. There's amazing holes on that course, but I gotta go with 8. Gotta go with 8.
Okay, 8, fair. Dave. Dave, while you're looking, are you trying
Dave's
to figure
looking
it out?
Dave's looking. Well,
Nope, that was something else. That was actual work.
I'm gonna go with 15. I will say that I think 15 might be. I didn't mind it when you teed off on the other side of the street and they would blow it over the corner, like Bubba would just take it down there and hit like flip in there. I thought it was a fun hole because you take it over the houses on 15. But I really think that pushing that tee box back next to the sharing with 11 and having that tee shot from across the street now really makes that a great hole.
Okay.
Because that green is just so diabolical anyway. Like it's so hard to hit that green.
Is there a non-diabolical green on this course besides one, maybe?
Here's the thing. I was actually
the par 5 greens aren't that bad.
I was going to take one, and I have my reasons for taking one. Greg,
One's a good hole.
Yeah,
One's
you
a
and I
great
played it with the stands, and the tournament tee box is still there.
Yeah.
And, just seeing that from having been on the other side of the ropes and watching the tournament, and then standing there on that tee box with the grandstands and Arnie's umbrellas still out there at the tournament tees, that just gives you, it's one of those things like, hey, I'm playing this too.
You can, and that's the thing about this course. You can make an argument, I think, for any hole on this course.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: I do think there's where I like the golf course. I think there's a lot of copycat holes on either side. Like I think 3 and 11 and 4 and 12 are almost the identical holes, and even if you get to 5 and 13, they're almost the same hole. And that is one of the things I don't like about the golf course.
Five's going back uphill, right?
Yeah, it's that uphill.
It's that uphill.
Yeah. No, that's 4. That 4 is the uphill par
4 is
5.
uphill, 5's downhill. Yeah.
The downhill one that it comes down right down to that 6 tee box where you can be aggressive and the bigger hitters can try and knock it down there if they want that chip shot. But no, I mean,
I'd probably say 4 and 5 are the worst 2 holes in that golf course.
Not gonna
I feel they're just put back there.
Yeah.
Right. It's funny to me that 13, the downhill par 4 with the water in front of the green, is the number 1 handicap hole in that golf course.
Yes.
I've been in that water.
It's like 3 iron. It's like driving iron or 3-wood and wedge. And it's the hardest hole on the golf course because the green is just so hard.
Well, it's because the green is so hard, and it's another hole like I like about number 8 is it makes you think, and most people that are playing that aren't the pros that are just trying to hit driver every time they're out there are either hitting too much club or not enough club. So it's
right.
That's what makes that hole.
Let's just try and figure out where I haven't found water on that course.
I was going to say that when you said I found the water. I was like, which hole haven't you?
You've made par on 18. That means you didn't find the water on 18.
I've played it multiple
times. I was about to say he played it multiple times.
All right.
I may have found the water on 18 from a different hole too.
Dave, I know what hole you didn't find the water on. 14.
No, I did not find water on 14.
Because there's no water. Because if you did, you've sprung a leak.
Or he really hit one off, really shanked it, and it just
ended up in
water somehow.
Ended up in somebody's pool.
Pool, pond would be good for you.
Yeah.
One you'd have to hit in someone's pool to hit water.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you find the water on 2, you've really done an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Well, no. Here's how you find the water on 2. You hit a massive draw over the green for 6 into the water. Because that walkway takes you to 6 right there.
No, there's actually water. There's actually water down there left on that hole.
If you go over, if you're
left of that green and you run down that hill, you run into there's actually a water hazard down there.
Hey, but when we play in a couple weeks in Hilton Head, I've been in that pool.
Oh, the pool at the Golden Bear when you hit it in that one, that was hilarious. That
was great.
Keen's Point's gone private now, by the way, since Hideki's out there all the time. So,
hey, it's when you got that many great golf courses out there, that's hard to choose a bad one.
Right.
Dave will tell you it's Island West, though.
Oh God, I hate Island West.
Still
has my 7-iron.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Dropped the 7-iron down a drainage shaft.
Well, that's not Island West's fault. That's yours. I mean, let's be real. But yeah, no, they this is always a fun week. I'm intrigued to see though, you had the 2 weeks of elevated events. You had Honda. We saw what happened to the field. Now you have 2 more weeks of elevated events, and then you go to Valspar. You have match play. This is the last year that match play is going to be at Austin, and we don't know if match play is going to continue. And then you go to the Texas Open down in San Antonio, and then you go to the Masters.
Yeah.
There's talk, by the way, from what I heard, that the match play spot is actually going to be moved up to San Antonio is going to be moved up to that. And Houston is going to move into the match play spot like it used to be the week before the Masters. And they would do the golf course with Augusta conditions to try and get the players to show up.
Okay. Well, it's like, wasn't it the John Deere a few years ago? They'd fly you to St. Andrews? Or
Yeah. Just to show up, yes.
Just to show up.
And they've moved that.
That's the thing about tournaments the week before a major. The guys that are playing in it are the ones that haven't made it to that major yet.
Not necessarily.
No, not always, but it's a good kind of like almost play-in. Like,
it's a good
well,
play-in.
And here's the other thing they did with the British is the tour ruined that idea when they moved the Genesis Scottish Open to the week before the British to get the players over there, and they did that co-sanctioned event. So that ruined any chance of that being going forward and having success with that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they took that over, and I mean, it's across the pond in their neck of the woods, so I don't blame them for that.
Right. So,
and I kind of like it. I kind of like having that open right before the Open.
Hey, something we haven't talked about tonight, guys. Up in the as we're looking at our screen here, the upper right-hand corner, we've got a new logo here.
We do have a new logo.
We do have a new logo, and I need to thank our friend Scott from Desert Fox Golf for our new logo. He helped make some changes to it, Swing Aid too. So I want to say thank you to him for designing our new logo and keeping the integrity of the Golfing Dads logo, and then moving and adding Tavern and making it look great. So thank you to Scott for that, and excited to have our new logo. And we may see some merch coming with our logo on it here shortly. Try and get a merch site up there.
There we go. It's a great logo. Goes with the Tavern perfectly.
Yes, yes, it does.
It's a good night, folks. We got Bay Hill this week, and let's get into happy hour now. Let's slide into the happy hour. Cheers, everybody.
Well, that's cheers. It is happy hour, and our guest is actually just hopped in. So let's. I'm gonna jump us out of here. We'll go to our intro for Mr. Jim Smith, and we'll go from there. So we're gonna learn a bit about World Amateur Golf Championships tonight. So let's add this to stream. And with that, I would like to welcome Jim Smith to the tavern here. Hey, Jim, how are you?
What's going on, man?
Jim.
We're gonna try this again. Hold, please.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
You know.
Which one?
That's
Try
which one you're caught.
I will not. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Awesome. Jim, welcome. Jim, our first question always in the tavern. What are you drinking tonight?
Corona.
Nice. I'm going to ask this question because I know where Jim lives. How's the weather up there, Jim?
You know, we're getting 6 to 8 inches of snow tonight.
Yeah, Jim. I'm sitting out in shorts and a t-shirt on my patio right now. So yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Steve, I got 2 words for you.
All right. Yes, we're starting off great on this.
Jim, you wouldn't be the first person on this video chat to say those 2 words to Steve tonight.
On a regular basis.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk to you guys, Steve. I know you and I have tried to do this for a number of months, and I'm grateful that you've been able to stick with it and give me the chance to come on and talk golf.
Yeah, no. So, Jim, well, I'm going to ask you while we have you here, who's your pick this week at Bay Hill?
Who's playing?
Everybody, everybody but the live players, literally.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rory's going to do well.
That was my pick.
You can never really bet against Scotty, but I think one of those two guys is going to pull it off.
Yeah, nice.
So Rory's going to want to do it to throw it back to Greg Norman. So
that's true too. So he's got some motivation. So
especially after Norman's comments.
Yeah,
exactly.
So Jim, we're not here to talk about Bay Hill. We're here to talk about WAGC and World Amateur Golf Championships. So
awesome.
You've got all your gear behind you, wearing the jacket, and why don't you tell us about the history of WAGC and how you came into running it?
WAGC is it's a 28-year-old global organization. A Swedish Olympic hockey player by the name of Sven Tumba started it back in 1995. He was a 4-sport Olympic athlete for Sweden, a Swedish national golfer, and he wanted to provide an opportunity for the amateur golfer to experience the Olympics. And what was created out of that was at the time, the World Golfer Championship, the WGC, which, oddly enough, became acronym for the World Golf Championship run by the PGA Tour. And the PGA reached out to Sven and said, hey, this could be some confusion. Can we change the name? So we created a license agreement where we are a global partner of the PGA Tour. We changed from World Golf Championship to World Amateur Golfers Championship. Not a big deal, but it throws the word amateur in there. So 28 years ago, Sven started this global golf tour. We're in 48 countries. And the first 6 years were in the U.S., Mission Inn, PGA National, PGA West. And I think 8 of the 26 World Finals have been in the U.S. So that was that. He knew a guy from Sweden by the name of Anders Bengtsson out of West Palm Beach, who helped him get started in the U.S., created the U.S. license back in 2010. I started running qualifiers for WAGC US in, let's say, 2015. Loved the concept. Wasn't that good back then, but decided that I'm going to stick with it. I ran some events. Was able to qualify for the team in 2016 to go to Durban, South Africa. And it was life-changing. I was living in Ohio at the time, transitioning to Massachusetts, and said, you know what, I'd like to run some of these events to give people opportunity to see what we actually are about. So that happened for a few years. 2018, Anders decided that he was aging. His health wasn't the best. He wanted to get out of the business. So I was running some events. He reached out to myself and 3 other tournament directors that were running events in the U.S. and said, hey, would you want to be a part of this? I looked over my shoulder and said, I don't need to ask anybody. I said, yes. So, it was one of those things that I believed in the product. I believed in the concept. I had the opportunity firsthand to experience what it was about. When I went to South Africa, it cost me $60, and that was one meal there were 2 meals that I paid for on my own. We provided everything else. So now we go back to 2020. Myself and my 2 business partners at the time acquired the U.S. license fully instead of as a partner with Anders. And a great thing called COVID happened that gave us an opportunity to look at what we had coming off a couple down years and said, you know what, we believe in this product. We're going to grow it. So we're going to go slow. And here we are in 2023. We just got back from the World Finals in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia in November. And looking forward to our next national event, which is in Myrtle Beach in 2 weeks.
Which course is in Myrtle Beach? True
Blue in Caledonia.
Oh,
Mike Strand.
You know what? He's like him or hate him.
Love him.
Love him. Yeah.
Love him.
My first opportunity to play one of his courses was oh God, what the hell? It's I can't think of it. It's
Tobacco, Tot Hill.
Tobacco Road. I walk, yeah, I
That's
walk
like
on
your
the first.
boxing match is Mike Tyson.
Well, exactly. I walk on the first tee, and you see these big mounds out on the fairway. I'm like, oh, where the hell am I supposed to hit this? And I think I proceeded to shoot like a 96. The love grass really isn't love grass. And then I came back in a qualifier and shot 78. So it's a beautiful course. It makes you think. I love playing courses that make you think. That you have to have strategy. You have to be able to. There you go.
There's
Exactly.
the must-have for that course is the yardage book.
Yes.
Absolutely. So, it's we picked Tim Greathouse, my business partner that's out in Colorado, is choosing our courses this year. So he will be out in Myrtle Beach for something else that week. So he said, you know what, let's do our spring masters in Myrtle Beach. So
Nice.
we're gonna go out there and play that. I don't get to play. I just get to ride around and watch people enjoy.
Hey, you haven't played. So you haven't played True Blue, by the way?
I have not. I haven't played either one of those.
Okay, so when you get to True Blue, go out to the third hole.
Okay.
And just literally take a picture and send it to me. And
Okay.
I need your reaction because it's literally the craziest thing I've ever seen. That hole.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. I will do that.
Typical strands.
Okay. Yeah, very typical strands.
So you're talking about all these tournaments that you run out there, and I know you have different chapters across the U.S. So what are your U.S. chapters? 'Cause I'm here in Indiana. If I was looking to play, what would be my best route?
Your next opportunity is going to be at Covered Bridge and Champions Point, May 19th to the 21st.
Okay. Nice.
That will be our tour championship. That's 3 legs of that. If you play all 3 days, that'll give you your rounds that you needed for the membership and qualify for the national championship. So I mentioned earlier that when we took it over in 2020, we were coming off a couple down years. I'll be honest, we were poorly managed. And you'll find that as we talk tonight, I'm going to be brutally honest, more than I probably should. But I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to blow smoke. I want to be honest. We had a guy up in Michigan that took a job in law enforcement and wasn't able to run events, so he was covering Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. So we're part of what we're doing is as we're growing and developing what we do, we're looking for guys that are passionate about golf, that want to make a little extra money, run some tournaments for us, and enjoy. And I can talk about all that's available within that tournament director package. But so we've got Colorado, Arizona, Houston, San Antonio, Florida, New England, and I do possibly have some guy that's going to run some events, excuse me, up in the Great Lakes area. What we're finding is people think, I'm gonna get in the golf business and I'm gonna run some tournaments, and they don't realize that it's work. And you can go anywhere in the world, in the U.S. today, and people are going, work? What's that? So it's been a challenge, and there's a lot of amateur tours, amateur leagues throughout the U.S. and they're all great. I mean, I can mention them. You got the U.S. Am Tour up in your area. You've got the North American Amateur Tour that's based out of Cincinnati, and he's doing a great job doing a lot of different things. You got the Grinch. You've got the APT, and we all do the same thing. We provide quality tournaments, competitive events for the amateur golfer. And we do things the same. The biggest thing that we do that differently is we have one division. It's men and women, but we don't have a senior team. We don't have a senior group because our world event doesn't have that. So we do that. All our events are net. We are a 100% net operation, and that's the biggest difference. So but the biggest thing that we have is at the end of our national championship, our 5 flight winners and 1 National Player of the Year get an all expense paid trip to represent the U.S. At the World Finals. So, anybody that wants to go to Phuket, Thailand, just give me a call.
So that kind of leads me where I'm going with this here, Jim, is how do you go about signing up for one of these tournaments? Do you need, are they handicap limited? Are you a scratch golfer? I'm about a 25 right now. How would somebody like myself or, the three of us right here go about signing up for a tournament to play?
Hey, Jim, and
WAGC
by the way, Jim, he's being generous saying he's a 25. Let's just say that.
I'm more like a 20. I'm like a 26.
I think you're more like a 20.
Yeah.
Maybe lacking.
All right, we'll split the difference and we'll go 23. WAGC.us. You can find our current active tournaments. Our handicap ranges are plus to 25.4. So and that's your index, not your course handicap. So if you're a 25, if you're a 25.4, if you're a 27, we would put you in at a 25.4. And that's not to say that we're not going to give you a shot, but when we started taking this over a few years ago, there were a lot of things that we could have done differently. We ran senior tees, we ran tees based off of handicap, but when you get to our World Finals, you don't get that luxury. Everybody's playing the same yardage, the same tees. If you qualify, or if your handicap is in the U.S. is based off of 5,000 or 6,000 yards or 6,100 yards, you're going to go to the World Finals, and there's a good chance that you're going to play 6,600 yards. So it's not going to be a fun experience for you. We had a guy in 2018 that went to the World Finals with us, 77-year-old. His handicap and he qualified for the U.S. team off of 6,000 yards. He went, and his second round there was 6,600 yards, and he was miserable. And that's not what we're about. Sven's biggest message was sports golf is about friendship and business, and that's truly what we are. We build friendships. We want to have fun, but we also want to abide by the USGA rules, and also make sure that we're providing a consistent message, a consistent, legitimate opportunity for anybody to play and win a great prize at the end of the year.
No, awesome. Now, Jim, in talking about the tournaments, and I've played in a couple, obviously, as you know, I played in a lot of the Florida events here. What is the competition, the rules? You talk about yardage. Is there yardage requirements and things like that? Talk about the tournaments, and then are we talking member guest style, or are we talking like a live event where you're shotgunned out and it's member guest style, or are we talking a highly competitive event?
You get out of it what you put into it. It's as far as the competitiveness. You're basically we're competitive golfers. We also want to have fun. We have people that are 100% on board with the rules of golf, and there's some that play in their local events, and their handicap is based off of that's 3 feet, that's good. So we abide by the rules. We follow the rules of golf. We do have some local rules that we do and we don't follow. Drop zones, things like that. We do have a maximum forced carry for ladies of 100 yards, and men is 150 yards. So our age group is 16 and up. We've got a handful of folks that are playing at 80 years old and over. They don't have the ability to hit a driver, 190 yards in the air. So we have that 150-yard men's, no forced carry over that. We'll set up the course so that if your standard second shot is going to be greater than 150 yards over water, we'll move that tee forward. We try to make it fun and competitive, but we also want to make it fair for all of our golfers.
Okay, I mean that seems like you have what golf's about is a fun place to play the sport we all love. Like, you play this game. And this is giving people that opportunity. When you play it competitively like this, we're not all playing on the PGA Tour, so you're giving people that opportunity to have that competitiveness with just a bunch of guys out there and ladies, and just having fun. So that's a great.
Yeah, 100%. And we are competitive. At the end of the day, we're still going to compete. We're still giving away some prizes at our national event that are close to $1,000, and I mean, the value of the World Finals package is over $7,000. So, we want to make sure that we're on the up and up. We monitor handicaps, from a pace to play standpoint. The World Finals has implemented a par plus 4 max score, so that, because with the USGA you can't post above a net double bogey. So it's keeping up with the pace of play. There's times that our rounds push 5 hours, but you're going to get that anywhere. We're averaging 420 to 440, which we still need to work on, and we've got some rules that from a pace of play standpoint that we do follow. So we're trying to be as much golf specific or golf rules specific as we can, but we also want to have it fun. We want to have people provide them an opportunity to enjoy themselves, and keep coming back.
So if I wanted to play in this, if I don't play in a regional championship, can I play in the U.S. finals, or do I have to qualify to get to different levels of? So
in order to qualify to play in a national championship, we have two things. You've got to play a minimum of 3 tournament rounds throughout our season, and we run August to end of July or middle of July, and you have to buy a $100 membership, and that's it. From a qualifying standpoint, all of our regions, we do have a local order of merit point system. So every tournament that you play, whether it's a local, regional, or national event, you earn points. And each one of those local points winner earns a free exemption into a national championship. At each one of our majors, our 4 national majors, we award a free exemption for that overall net winner into that national championship. So 3 rounds, $100, pay the entry fee if you don't qualify any other way. And you get a chance to play people against in your own flight category for a chance to represent the U.S.
Nice.
So, and I kind of got a part A and a part B question here. And you said, the 3 of us here we're no strangers to the side bet on golf. And I saw in the entry video that side betting might be encouraged out there. And you're talking about making golf fun and things like this.
Side betting is always encouraged.
Yes. do you find people, are enjoying something like, because the 3 of us are going to go out there and it may not be, I know I'm in the hole to these 2 guys pretty much whenever I step on a course with them. But what are you seeing out there that people are really enjoying from like making a side bet?
So we run side games. We run skins, low net, front and back, and then quotas. You can get into all 3. You can get into 1. You can get into 2. You can get into none. To me, it keeps you involved in every hole. If you're out of the tournament but you're in the side games, you're gonna continue to push. If you don't have any skin in the game, and you're having a lousy round, you're gonna be miserable. You're gonna bring everybody else down. So probably 80% of our players participate in side games. So it's one year at a national championship. One of our players that won her flight and went to Turkey walked away with, I think, $2,800 in side game winnings.
Nice.
So it's the bigger the field, the bigger the pots.
Yeah. And
Jim,
so,
let me ask you, Dave, hold on. Jim, you just mentioned flights. How are the events flighted?
The events are flighted based off handicap. So our handicap range is plus to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, and 21 to 25. From a U.S. standpoint, okay. and those match up with the flight ranges for the World Finals as well.
So when you win your flight for the U.S. Finals, and you've touched on this a little bit, what's included for the Worlds?
You win your flight at National Championship, you get invited to a champions breakfast where we talk over what you're going to need: passports, travel requirements. We've got a couple forms you got to fill out. We get your shirt size, we get your pant size, we get what name you want in your golf bag, a shoe size. So you get a uniform for 6 rounds of golf, 4 to 6 rounds, depending on the sponsor. We're working with our buddy Bob over at Squares for a pair of the new USA shoe for all of our players. A golf bag right behind me from Orca Golf out of Boca, Florida. The new one, this year's bag is Steve, you'll like it.
I'm just hoping I have one.
You get coach airfare, six rounds of golf, 2 practice, for tournament rounds, shared lodging at a 4 to 5 star resort, most meals, transportation to and from the course and the airport in the host country. You get to visit some of the sites. You meet a lot of great people. To me, that's, since I don't, as one of the owners, I'm not eligible to play, or I am, but I don't play in the championship at the World Finals. There's another tournament called the Invitational that is for sponsors, friends, licensed partners, and so forth, that we play in, and I enjoy that. It's so much fun because you get to meet people. I met a guy from when I was in South Africa in 2016. We took a selfie. We were on the same flight. We saw each other again in 2019 in Borneo, and I'm getting on one of the buses that's taking us to the course, and I hear this guy calling my name. I look around, and this Asian guy running towards me, and he's got his phone out with him, and he goes, and he shows me this picture of the selfie that he and I took at a course in South Africa, and we took another one, and we're Facebook friends, and I've got standing invitations to, if I'm ever in Philippines or Czech Republic or Germany or Spain or a handful of other countries, that I've got a place to stay.
That's fantastic.
Hey, Jim, I just wanted to let you know one of your sponsors is actually watching tonight, Tag Golf, who made your towels this year. There it is, hanging up there. So they just said love this. So we'll say hi to those guys. So
and that was the thing. I saw them. I think it was on one of your posts right before our World Finals, or maybe it was them at the World Am last year. And we connected on social media, and we're going to put something together where we do some custom towels. And we're going to offer some discounts to our members. So it's people like that give us the ability to give our members and our followers an opportunity to get some great products.
Jim, let me ask you, it's 2 questions. So the first one, we've talked about the U.S. Finals. Where are they this year? And then I have a
Dancing Rabbit.
Dancing Rabbit, and it's in Mississippi.
Choctaw, Mississippi. Really, Philadelphia, but yeah.
Nice. Great facility. Obviously, it's that they get rated in Golf Digest and whatnot, so it's a great facility there. So, Jim, let me ask you. I mean, obviously, tournament golf is a little more expensive than just going to the course and playing your normal round of golf. And obviously, you guys, if you're footing the bill for airfare, hotel, and all that other fun stuff to the World Finals, what all goes into playing? And I'm not asking like where the money goes, but like what's somebody getting for their investment is what I'm saying if they're going to play in a tournament round.
From a local standpoint, your entry fees are going to be a little lower. We try to negotiate the best possible rate that we can with the golf courses. But I mentioned COVID, at the start of this, and COVID was great for golf, but it also killed from a business standpoint. Tournament operators, it really hurt us with the ability to negotiate lower rates because the inventory of the course isn't there anymore. So you're paying into, down in Florida, Mike is doing some prize money that goes into his entry fee. So you're paying for golf range, a trophy, and a small percentage of that from a local region. It's minimal. Goes back to support the order of merit player of the year out of each region comes out of that money. From a national event standpoint, a 2-day event, you're getting 2 rounds of golf, you're getting lunch each day, you're getting a welcome gift, trophies, and some of that extra goes to pay for that exemption out of that pocket. So we took an oath, myself, Tim, and my business partner, myself. We decided, what, we're going to keep our costs as low as possible. We picked up a couple sponsors that have allowed us to keep our numbers as low as possible to offset the cost of sending a team to the World. So, that's where that comes from. If you look at some of our 2-day national events, The most expensive we charge, and that's the week leading up to the tournament before it cancels. For our 2-day events are $420. We're selling that mostly for $380. If you're a tour member, you get it for $360. National championship, I'm finalizing the price this week, but it's probably going to be the same that it was for Mission Inn. I just have to wait for the final numbers back from the courses. But that's going to be probably $629, $649. That's 3 rounds. That's a 3-course dinner, welcome gift, trophies, and an opportunity to represent the U.S.
Awesome. So Jim, I'm gonna. Yeah, go ahead, Greg. Go.
I was gonna say, no, it just sounds like you have this just great event for people who want to get out there, they want to play. We're not gonna make it on tour. Dave's not making it on tour anytime soon. But it gives him the chance to kind of have that kind of experience of that camaraderie, the fun, the just not just going out and playing with your buddies. Now you're going out and you can meet new people and have that social environment and compete against someone else and he's not getting beat by Steve or me every week.
Correct. We have a handful of guys that will follow us from national event to national event, because in each of the national events, I mentioned that you earn points. And at the end of those 4 national events and the national championship, whoever has the most points of those 6 events or 5 events, earns a free spot on Team USA in the Invitational. So I mentioned there's two facets to the World Finals. So you've got the championship, which is for the 5 flights, the 5 flight winners, and then the Invitational, which is for sponsors and whoever wants to go. That same experience is there. You get the same package that you would if you won your flight. The only difference is that you're going to pay for it. You get the bag, you get the trip. The only thing we don't provide is the airfare. We let you manage that on your own. You get the uniform, you get everything that goes along with that. You're playing individually within your flights, but you're also playing with a partner as a 2-person team against 75 other plus teams for that same. You're playing in your flights. You're also playing as a 2-person team to win prize or to win trophies as well.
So, Jim, we've got actually a question from one of our viewers tonight. His name is Brad Schubert. I know Brad. He actually runs several adaptive golf tournaments annually.
Okay.
I
think I know Brad.
Yep. So he said, Jim, I run several adaptive tournaments. Have you found it difficult to find solid, reputable sponsors?
Yes. Nobody has money to spend. It doesn't matter what it is. My real job is I'm a project manager for an exhibit building company, and prior to that, I worked with a couple of sports marketing companies, and the sponsor dollar isn't there. They want a quick return, and there's really no measurable way that you can do it. Social media, there's so many different ways that you can play with the analytics. You can play with the numbers. If you want to spend the money, you can really do the due diligence and dig into it. But it's really tough to get people that are going to believe what you're selling. The adaptive program is great through an organization, International Network of Golf. I've been aware of the adaptive program for years, and what you guys are doing social media wise and what you're doing across the country is truly amazing. But yes, it's very tough to find sponsors that will want to give you money or anything that's really substantial that will allow you to grow your events. A lot of them will offer product, which is great because anything that's coming out of your pocket that you don't have to pay for is money. So hopefully that answered the question.
Jim, do you find that and I'm going to tag on to that. Is that a product of COVID? Do you think that everybody was kind of a little more free spending pre-COVID than they are post?
I think they are. I mean, if you look at the world in general, and I'm not going to get into politics, I don't. That's one thing that I try to stay away from that and live golf. But
we avoid those same 2 topics.
Yes.
It's you look around, you go to restaurants, they're closing early because they don't have wait staff. You're waiting 45 minutes for a pizza that takes 17 minutes to cook because they don't have anybody that can deliver it or take the order. So I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. It's what are people doing? They're spending money. Yeah. But yeah. So it's been tougher. They want to hold on to their money a little greater. You got all the stuff that's going on throughout the world, and it's tough to figure out, okay, what's going to do it. You look at the stock market; it's up and down. I don't even look at mine anymore because it gets me more depressed than I already am. So yeah, it's COVID has it just put a lot of people in a funk that they don't seem to want to get out of.
So Jim, let me ask you. I've won a couple of the championship flights in the Florida region.
Humble brag.
No, it's actually not, and I'm gonna tell you why. So my question for you is,
you're right, it's not humble, it's just bragging.
I've never been able to win the overall championship at those events because being a net event, well, I'll win my flight, somebody with a higher handicap always wins. And that, I'm still going to show up and play, but that can be like, some people are going to be like, how come I'm never the overall winner and getting the points for overall winner? How do you guys control handicaps and things like that?
Handicaps, and I can go back to years ago when I was playing in the World Amateur in Myrtle Beach. Handicap is always.
You mean the Sandbagger Invitational?
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's hard to manage. The World Handicap system has come a long way. My opinion is that as soon as the USGA allowed people to enter their own indexes, you threw out any validity out the window. We take a couple of things into consideration. So we have a running total of scores that players play with us. We call it our WAGC index, and we match that up with a GIN index. If you don't have a GIN, then we go by your scores, and we calculate a handicap for you. In our national events, if you come in, if you don't have more than 5 rounds with us, and you shoot a 7 net under par, you're going to get reduced for that event and everything going forward. So we try as best we can to police it. There are some situations where you've got a guy that comes in that we don't have a true method to validate his index. We take a look at some scores, but again, if you don't have an index with us and you have 10 scorecards, you send us those scorecards or give us the information, we'll calculate a score, but there's no validity or validation on the scorecard. So I don't want to say that it's a guess, but it's as close as we can get to giving a player a valid index. I truly believe that golf is a game of honor, and if you are not honorable, then at some point we'll catch you. We have disqualified somebody that came in that didn't play a lot of numbers with us in our national championship, or leading up to a national championship a number of years ago. He was reduced after his first round. He was reduced after his second round, and he was disqualified because we've got a full field that we try to protect. So you're always going to get somebody that's going to come in with a low net score, and if you look at it, your higher handicap probably has a better chance to have a career round than a single-digit guy.
Dave, you don't have any chance for a career round. Let's just say
it's true. I mean, I've played in leagues and stuff, and I literally had in a league one time. I had a guy telling me, he's like, I write down, if I shoot a 10 on a hole, I put a 10 on a hole. I'm like, if you shoot a 10 on a hole, that's a fluke. And if you're following the actual handicap system, I'm like, this guy's telling me he's sandbagging without telling me he's sandbagging while I'm playing him in a tournament. And I'm like, you just don't understand the handicap system and how it works. And how
what did he didn't he shoot like 3 under or something that day, Greg? Because I think you called me after that.
Oh, I did. I called you right after that. I was like, I got to tell you the story about it. Was just, I'm like, this guy's telling me he's the whole round. He's like, oh yeah, everyone, and he's like, I won this like league last year, and everyone was questioning me, and I'm like, I keep my handicap to exactly what it is. I'm like, that's not how handicaps work. I said, he was actually a really good player, and I'm like, your handicap's actually better than what you're putting out here, and I'm giving you strokes here today, and that's what's killing me. And that's what's frustrating. But I think it's a lot of it too, is just a lot of amateurs out there don't understand the handicap system and how it works. It's not like
they don't.
If I shoot 18 over on 18 holes, that's not an 18 handicap. It depends on so many different factors that are out there. It's a great system. The USGA and the RNA have put together an amazing system that makes it fair to everyone. But like you said,
this might be the only thing I give them credit for.
It's to the honesty of the player too. And most people they're honest out there, but you have those people that just don't understand it and think that they sometimes think they're being honest by writing down too much. But it's like, no, when you enter, yeah, you might have scored 100 today, but your actual score that's going into your handicap is a 90 because you had 2 blow up holes that were just freak accidents.
But that's only if they enter hole by hole
Yeah.
from the right tee. So, you know, in our club, we have a handful of guys that everybody knows what they do and how they manipulate the system. But, you know, if you shoot a 90 and you had 4 quads on the easiest holes on the course, you can't post that. Yet they're going to post the front and the back and say, yeah, I shot a 90. Well, you know, that would have been, you know, equitable stroke down to, you know, 84. So, and that was part of the thing in the World Finals before they went to the WHS. You know, Sweden, you can post a 7 on a par 3 and post that as a score. So, you know, the World Finals have always been, you know, questionable because you've got, you know, countries that aren't above board with what they're doing from a handicapping system, and you know, you got to look at it. Yeah, you're disappointed if you lose because somebody was cheating, but at the end of the day, you know, you're not going to change that person.
Yeah, it's a good system out there, and what I like about a lot of leagues, especially the league that I play in now, like my weekly league, it's we enter the scores hole by hole to them. They put it in. So if I have my handicap, they put it in there, and they put it right into my gin too. So they require you have this. So like you can't sandbag on the days you're playing in the league. You can do it on the rest of the week, but I like when events like yours and stuff, you put in those times and you have those systems in place, that it's not just like Dave's running the league in Iowa by himself and he's just putting in people's scores and not taking the handicap into system. It makes it fair to everyone, I think.
Yeah, and the tournament software that we just switched over to, Golf Genius, we have the ability that at the end of the round, anybody that has a GIN
That's
number,
what I use.
It posts directly to it, and it doesn't matter what you score on a hole. It's going to stroke it down to whatever the equitable number is and should be.
Nice. Well, Jim, one last question to wrap up, and then I have a little surprise for you too. We want to know, what is your favorite memory from the U.S. or World Finals?
And
it might be, I'm gonna throw this up here because it might be this. Somebody sent me this picture today. So somebody sent me this picture, and I think you might know who it was that sent me that.
It's funny. Yeah, Susan and I, that was a surprise to her because when we first started dating, we were both married prior, and you know, one of the first questions, you know, after we got, you know, dating for a little while was, you know, would you ever get married again? And before she even got that out of her mouth, I said no. And then so, you know, I was thinking about it, and you know, we had an opportunity, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it there or. We spent a couple extra days in Kuala Lumpur, but you know, it wouldn't have been appropriate. So I coordinated with the organizer of the World Finals this past year in Malaysia and said, hey, I need 7 minutes on stage sometime tonight. And they said, why? I said, well, you know, I want to thank everybody. So Steve, you've been there. I don't know if you've been to any of our national events, but at the end of every national event, I get in front of everybody, and I basically say, you know, thank you from us. If you had a good experience, tell somebody. If you didn't, tell me, and we'll find a way to fix it. So I wanted to do that. This event, you know, it attracts some significant people. We had the Prince of one of the states in Malaysia do the ceremonial first tee shot at one of the events there. But yeah, so I pulled her up on stage. She had no idea what it was going to be, and she was truly surprised. So yeah, that was a memory that I'll have. We've got video, we've got pictures, and yeah, so that was probably the best moment. But it's that, but it's the friendships. It truly is the friendships. Golf truly is friendship and business, and the business side of it is giving us the ability to run the U.S. The friendship side is the hundreds of people that I've met throughout the world through this event.
That's awesome, Jim. Congratulations, by the way, because I didn't know this.
Congratulations.
By the way, so
yeah.
Cheers.
Mike sent me this tonight, so congratulations, and yes, so thank you.
Yeah, he's actually on our training video right now.
Is he? Okay. Nice. So, well, Jim, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you for taking time out of your night to talk WAGC and hang out with us for a little while. I hope you enjoyed your Corona tonight. And,
I did. And again, I said this when we started, but truly, Steve, I truly do appreciate, and I know we've talked a little bit and whatever we can do at WAGC wise to help you and golfing dads and the podcast, by all means, send me this logo. I'll add you to the sponsor page. And it truly is. It's friendship and business, and that's what this is right here. It's an opportunity to talk about something that we all love.
I'm gonna tell one story, Jim, and it was 2 years ago at the world's worst PGA merchandise show. Was
that the virtual one?
No, this was the worst attended one. Jim and I were standing out in the concourse with Mike, who runs the Florida chapter, and we're having a conversation, and I look up and I chuckle, and Jim sees it at about the same time I do, standing to my left, and Mike had his back to it, and we both kind of chuckle because we see what's going on. And all of a sudden, Greg Norman is walking up, and literally Greg walks up and has some guys try to get a selfie with him, and Greg has this handler literally like give them the Heisman, and we both sat there and just laughed and said, so typical. It's funny. I've got another story, a PGA story.
This was probably going back to mid 90s. I was there. I was working for International Management Group, and we were down there. We started some consumer golf shows, and I was down there. And my boss at the time and I were walking down the corridor, and Mr. Palmer was walking by. Same thing. He had his handler. We stopped and said hi to him, and he stopped and said hi. We had the IMG connection, but still he took the time to stop and say hi. And that's the difference. Egos aside, Greg was a fierce competitor, but he can't let his ego go. And that's, I said I wasn't going to talk live, but if his ego wasn't as big as it was, this wouldn't be an issue.
Exactly.
I mean,
well, you know what, Jim? Jim, while we talk about that,
not the CW.
It's funny, Jim. I'll let you go after this. We do a smack of the week, and this week's smack of the week actually happens to be this. And on the Live Golf broadcast this week, David Faraday said that Greg Norman changed the game and was probably the most recognizable athlete on the planet in the 80s and 90s. And I just want to point out that is the same era that Michael Jordan played in, and Mike Tyson was in. We'll just leave that alone. There's the smack of the week, and I can't. There's the smack of the week because that might be the worst take I've ever heard. So
yeah, it is what it is, and it depends on what you leave. Tom Gorman. He is the biggest live proponent on the planet. I get stuck seeing all his posts and everything up that he does up here in New England, and it is what it is. It's a bunch of guys that
exactly.
are past their prime. With the exception of DJ and maybe Cam Smith. Who else is really reveling? I mean, Charles Howell, great. What has he done? It's Peter Uihlein. His biggest claim to fame is his father.
Correct.
I give him credit for going through that process and trying to get his tour card and then doing his due diligence on the DP tour, but you didn't really have a career on the PGA tour. So you look at all these other guys, and you look at Phil, you look at Koepka, you look at all these guys. They're not doing that. I mean, Koepka, he's got to fix his head before he can do anything. Right. DJ wants to play 7 days a year and hang out with Paulina, and you can't blame him. You're gonna give these guys this boatload of money they don't want to work. It's my chuckle with that is they're doing it because they like the schedule. They want to have the freedom. And you look at Patrick Reed. He plays 7 weeks straight last year. They're playing more events. They're doing exactly what they were doing on the PGA Tour. They just have a guaranteed money up front, and they get to wear shorts and play a scramble. And you can't follow
Shotgun start.
Yeah,
flying all
shotgun
over the world too.
I did look at it. I turned on the CW for 4 minutes just to see what it was like, and I couldn't follow it.
Yeah.
And that was only because somebody said it looked like it was a high school production.
It does.
You can't follow it.
Somebody said the team competition reminds them of roller derby. They may not be wrong.
Like 1980s roller derby with like the alligators in the middle.
Yes,
Here's the thing. I will say this. I thought the same thing. So when I watched like the USFL when they were bringing that and the XFL back, and I tried to watch the USFL thinking, okay, these are some of the college players or players that are trying to get back into the NFL. But it was the broadcast that I was like, I can't watch this broadcast. Like that's what changed it for me. Like I can watch a PGA broadcast. I can actually watch an XFL broadcast on ESPN now. I actually liked it. But the USFL last year, I don't know what it's going to be like this year, but I was like, this is the most boring broadcast. And I feel it's the same thing. I think saying it's a high school broadcast, that is what it feels like. That hit the nail on the head.
But even watching or looking at their live leaderboard on their website, I looked at it this year and I'm like going, what the hell is this? You've got a score on the right, and then you've got 3 or 4 holes and circles, or it's blank. I'm like going, where are the numbers? So they're circling the hole, whether it's a par or a birdie, a bogey, or worse, or an eagle, but they're not putting numbers in. So
they're trying to be different in too many ways.
You're right. They're trying to be so unique in 14 different ways. Get the first one down first.
Yeah.
It's like Vince McMahon is running it.
Exactly.
We'll leave that alone.
Vince McMahon knew what he was. I will say, he's got a good product, but
Jim, thank you again. Jim, thank you for joining us tonight.
Yes, thanks, Jim.
You guys enjoy your wedding plans.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that, and we will talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim. That was a great tournaments that you're running out there. Keep up the good work with that, and thank you for coming on here today. Well, we already got into the smack of the week, and I will have to go back into that because I feel like with Liv, and we're going to talk Liv. It's going to happen on the Golfing Dads because we're going to talk golf, but I feel like they're just trying to force everything. Like the point that like Faraday, I love Faraday. That he says that, like that seems like it was like, here's the script, go say this.
Yeah.
Like, now all of the
it was Stroke Greg Ziegler.
Yeah, it's Stroke Greg
Ziegler.
You can't talk bad about Liv. Like you have to, if you're going to play in the 4 majors this year, you have to wear your team's uniform. So you're going to see the cliques
or the high flyers.
What at these, I think that takes away from those events. Like I wish Augusta would say, no, you can't wear that.
Well, think about, and I'm going to say this. Our guest who couldn't join us tonight, Dormy, I hope they're having a good time tonight partying because they played in a really cool event today at PGA National, and that's why they couldn't, because they were playing with Mr. Goslings from Goslings in a Goslings event. They did the head covers for the Majestics or the Magic Sticks or whatever they're called, Ian Poulter's team for Liv. If you were there,
is that the head cover?
Right? There's that. If you're the sponsors or the people that are providing those head covers, you want that product out there. So, I get where those guys are coming from. It's just these team names are. Yeah. We'll leave the team names alone.
At the end of the day, like Dormy's a business.
Yeah,
right. They need to. Somebody walks in the door and wants, a custom head cover. Great. Hand me your check.
Here's the funny part about that, and I'm just going to say this: PGA Tour bags are like NASCARs. They are big billboards with logos on them, and there are reasons that on the PGA Tour. there are very few that do not have a club sponsor on their back, a staff bag from the, there's Tiger, and Tiger can do what he wants because he's Tiger.
Because he's
Monster Energy drink.
Monster Energy drink. But like, how many of them are club manufacturer bags?
Yeah.
Because they're huge. That's their way of advertising. So when you've taken that away, and again, you've taken away so much from these players from an advertising dollar, like, and everyone's like, oh, well, DJ got dropped. DJ didn't get dropped. DJ left because he wanted this clothing deal. DJ left Adidas, like Sergio, because they wanted to have their brand, and Adidas didn't want to provide that. And it was basically supply our team, and you got to supply all four of us, or it's an all or nothing thing. And so they chose the nothing thing. And so, okay, great. I think that, is it a great idea for them? You know what? If you're the player, they've made a lot of money going. Yeah. Is that going to take away? I mean, there's all these rumors. I mean, Bryson's got a new club deal coming, allegedly. Like, he's not under contract with anybody. And Cobra Puma was like, I don't want to deal with him anymore because he was already hard enough to deal with. And that's a whole nother story for another time, because I've been around Bryson with one of his equipment manufacturers, and it's not a fun experience.
Well, that's the whole thing.
That's
the whole thing with this, is that you have Liv trying to, like I said when Jim was on here, they're trying to do so much different and force so much on these people that, like, I actually love the idea of like a team golf event. I love the idea of some of the things that they want to do, but it's not about that. It's about just trying to make live golf in any way they can. Like, that's what it's about. Right. It's you're about that brand now. That's 100% what you're about. I get you take the money. I get, like, I don't blame the players for going there. I blamed them at the time when they were announcing. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to change that." No, you're going because they're paying you a buttload of money. Like, and I think, let's be honest.
Like Greg and I, you and I have both made it through all of Full Swing.
Yeah.
DJ said it. He's just like, look, they're going to pay me more to do less.
That was the most honest in Full Swing. I loved that Poulter and DJ and them, they said that exactly what I wanted them to say was, I'm taking the money and I get to do this over here.
Yep.
But what they're not saying is the other stuff that comes along with it now. There are strings attached to this money that, and I'm not even getting into where the money's coming from. I'm just saying, to play and live golf, you have all these strings attached to it, that it's because they're so fearful about their brand not making it that they're forcing you to force their brand.
Well, it's the whole sports washing idea. And
yeah,
I mean, we could sit here and, the horse is dead, stop kicking. Like,
yeah, that's true.
You can go down that road. Like,
yeah. But
I just think that we're at a point where, you know what, Liv's hard enough to watch, because I don't want to watch Patrick Reed hit a shot at all, because I wonder if he cheated and moved the sand or adjusted it because he said it was plugged even though it hopped into that lie.
Can I take out my binoculars?
Yeah, right.
It's in his tree.
and looking the wrong tree. Like, I just have a hard time with that. Like, and that's where I'm like, like, again, I draw the line at Patrick Reed because I can't. But I think that we're at a point where, when I look at, okay, and there are a few people online that have made this point, there was nobody in attendance at the live event at Mayakoba. There's nobody there. Like, you talk about this great product, you have nobody showing up for it. You're at Mayakoba. Like, were you not like, I'm going to be intrigued to see, and I mean, tell me if you think I'm crazy, but like, if I what weekend is that event in Orlando?
The week before the Masters.
Yeah, and I'm the only day I can go is Friday because I'm playing in a tournament on Saturday.
You got your cleats hat you're gonna wear?
No, you know what? The only way I'm going out there is if Dormy's in town, and I will go and hang out with them because they're friends of mine, and that's the only way I'm going out there. And that's literally and I ain't paying for that. Are you kidding me? Now, and I'll say this, like, and I'm not going to argue with Dormy. Dormy's a business, and if you're in a business and you're trying to make money, and they approach you and say, "We want you to make,"
they're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
right. Do the right thing. Like,
they're doing the right thing. I don't blame them for doing that.
No, I do what you want to do.
I think it's awesome.
And good for you. If you're making money on it, make all you can make. Like again, that's what we're all in this business to do. But do I think that? Like, I'm struggling on the fact that you're talking about the fact that these guys are literally saying, "Oh, I want to play less. I want to do this. I want to do that," and then they are not. They're literally, like you said, they're doing the exact opposite of what they've said.
Hold on, Steve. I just got this message. We've officially been sponsored by Live Golf now, so we can't talk bad about them anymore.
Yeah.
Damn it. Live's the best tour ever. I will take the money and run. So,
Long
and by the
live
way,
Live.
All hail Greg Norman.
Really quick. So there's a 14-year-old in England named Olivia whose Instagram or social Twitter handle is Live Golf. And that's why Live's is Live Golf _ League.
Yeah.
League. So can we talk about the fact that they've paid all this money for all these people and they didn't pay the money to get their freaking Instagram or Twitter handle that they wanted? Like, I do too. Like, take the money, honey.
Like, yes. Hold out as long as you can on that. Hold out so they don't exist. You will outlast that tour.
Right.
All right, let's move on. I'm going to change topics here because we're golfing dads, but we're going to talk about one of our other favorite sports here. It's baseball season's back, and we're going to just tag on this with spring training a little bit. You know, Steve's a Red Sox fan, Dave's a Phillies fan, and I'm a Yankees fan. So we got some rivalries here. And Dave and our team started off at the spring training kickoff this year, but this is going to bring us into, Steve, thank you for putting that up. Talking about rule changes. We got rule changes in golf all the time, and we're going to talk about that. But what do you guys think about these new rule changes in Major League Baseball?
It's going to take some get, it's spring training, but a game ended on the umpire calling the batter out on a 3-2 count because he wasn't facing the pitcher soon enough, and that ended the game with the bases loaded. Now, let's extrapolate that situation. What if it's Rafael Devers, Aaron Judge, or Bryce Harper at the plate, Game 7 of the World Series at home, and the umpire calls him out in the bottom of the 9th?
It's just like holding in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, but he was holding.
Too soon for that? Too soon.
Wear white gloves. Come on.
Yeah.
Be smarter than that. Don't wear the wrong color gloves.
I'm
going to say this, and I'm going to say this as a diehard Red Sox fan who watched David Ortiz hit into way too many shifts. I love the shift rule.
I hate the shift rule.
I hated the shift rule. I love that it's going back to this.
No, I love the shift. I hate this rule.
No shift.
If you can't hit around the shift, you don't deserve. Like, this is defensive strategy.
Okay,
listen, I don't like the. I don't listen. We all,
it's co-ed behind second base.
It's co-ed.
I have had the shift put on me on co-ed softball and hit around it.
Right. So the bases.
So have I, and they move the outfield into the infield for me. But what's the point?
They're in your pockets from the outfield. That's
but yeah, no. I mean, I like the fact that baseball. You know what's funny is a couple weeks ago we had on the patio, the hot tub patio at St. Andrews, and we talked about that and the pushback that they got for the hot tub patio. And now we're sitting here talking about baseball rules changes, and they're just like, we don't care what you think. Yeah. We want to speed up the game. And again,
the doesn't speed up the game.
Yeah, here's the problem though. It actually took 25 minutes off of games at the minor league level because you can only step off 3 times. Like
that's 25 more minutes of somebody getting a beer before the 7th inning.
They need that beer money.
That is someone who
beer money.
That is somebody who I have been to Philadelphia with, saying beer, talking about getting more beer before the 7th inning. Yeah. That we've sat through rain delays and been like we're in the tavern, and I've had a few.
So I will say, I do like the pitch count, and I do like the bigger bases. I do like that they're speeding up the game. I mean, Gary Sheffield put out a tweet saying like the Major League Baseball is listening to these fans that aren't going to watch any of these games and speeding it up for no reason. But I mean, I don't want to watch the epic battle in the middle of the season between the Yankees and the Red Sox that would take 24 hours just to play 9 innings. And like that, I don't.
Can we talk about the fact that the Red Sox and Yankees are going to play each other 9 times this year? because of
Yeah.
complete interleague play. Like, we've sat there, 19 nights a year, and you and I have texted back and forth talking crap about Red Sox and Yankee games because of our allegiances, and now we only get it 9 times. And the trash talking's got to get worse now.
It's got to be brutal, and only 9. We got to cut it in half.
We got to cut it in half.
But
But no,
more into less.
I mean, we could go on and on about golf rules changes. I kind of took a dig when you commented on the USGA and the RNA and their handicap system about that's the only good thing they've done. And I firmly believe that there are things that they have done along the way with whether it's the belly putter or the I don't mind the square grooves
let's
rule.
Go into that. We've talked about baseball. I mean, and we've given our opinions on this, but I think we're the golfing dads. Let's get back into golf here, because Steve, you and I have talked about this, and this is where you were going with this. We've talked about this in occasion. I feel that sometimes they make these decisions too quickly. I'm like the belly putter and things like that. Just because one guy wins a major, they're like, oh, now we got to look at this and change this. Where it's like you're changing the rules based on the PGA, but it's not affecting. First of all, it's not affecting the PGA, to be honest with you, and it's not. It's making it harder for the average golfer. Like
let's talk about. You talk about growing the game of golf, and I think that is what all of us in golf media strive to do each and every day. And we talk about, whether it's, taking my youngest, who is diehard gung-ho on going out to Bay Hill this weekend, saying, I want to go with you, Daddy, Saturday and Sunday, and I want a hat and I want an autograph on my hat. Great, Luke, let's go. So when you have that and you have this conversation, you're like, okay, you're going to get a lot of how do we grow the game of golf I heard an interview with Zach Johnson on the Golf Channel one time, and he was talking about the belly putter, and he's like, what, if it makes you have more fun and play better, freaking use it. It's not going to matter. Right. And I wish more people would take that attitude. The problem is you go out to a course and you use a belly putter and someone's going to call you a cheater.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And so, what, if and I'm gonna say this, Greg, if your dad or my dad go out and play and they want to use a belly putter, right? And
I'm gonna make fun of my dad, and I hope he's watching and sees this.
But if they go out and want to use a belly putter, right?
Go out and use it.
Go out and use it. If he's not playing if he's not playing in the club championship, who cares? Like, have fun, enjoy it, play the game the best you can. Like, I'm just done with like some of these rules that people put into place. Like, do square grooves benefit any one of us sitting here? Like, am I going to hit rippers out of the rough because I have square grooves? No, because I don't compress it enough, or that. I mean, I'm a 5 handicap. I compress it pretty well, but like, are square grooves going to benefit Dave?
Anything will benefit Dave.
That's true.
But he could use it.
but
that's the point. And I'm sick of every year like hearing about like on the PGA Tour flight restricted balls and stuff like that. You know what? I want to see them bomb at 350 with their 3-wood.
Nike said it a long time ago. It was 1998. Chicks dig the long ball.
Exactly.
Like what sells on the PGA Tour? I don't want to see somebody hitting 3-wood into par 4s. I don't want to see that. I want to see somebody rip driver down there and hit 7-iron in from, like, I want to be able to think about the fact that I'm standing up with a 7-iron in my hand and I'm like, okay, how far is Tiger hit his 7-iron? Okay, I'm hitting mine I hit mine like 165. That's my stock 7-iron number. Like, how far are these guys hitting compared to me? These guys, and the problem with what the USGA and the RNA have done is they haven't looked at, they're looking at data of just raw numbers. They're not looking at the fact that people with my build who are fat, who are in their late 40s at this point, the Craig Stadlers of the universe aren't going to ever be back on the PGA Tour. It's become an athlete's game because of one person. It's Tiger. I mean, everybody was like, Tiger showed up with a 6-pack and guns and started ripping it. And everyone's like, we got to compete with that. So look at everybody. Like, if you look at everybody in the PGA Tour, like, waistlines fall into like Will Zalatoris at like 26. And I think maybe a 32 might be your biggest waistline. I mean, Bryson might have been a 34 when he was out there because of the muscle he put on. But like, when you're talking about waistlines and you're talking about athletes, like Craig Stadler with a 50-inch waistline isn't going to be on the PGA Tour anymore.
John
Daly's
They're
still
just not gonna-
representing. Daly's still representing us out there. So
I mean, he is, but he's on the Champions Tour.
Ripping and ripping.
When was last time Daly was actually in a tournament in the Champions Tour? Let's talk about that.
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
It's John Daly.
I love John. I love
Legend.
John, and he
Legend.
and let's be real, he's probably the second biggest draw in golf outside of Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Anytime
gets
John Daly wants to come on here,
see
he's
him
welcome.
play in the Open.
Bingo. But yeah, no, I just think that we're at a point where, they keep talking about the changes that they're making are for literally the 1% of 1/1,000,000th of a percent of golfers. When you look at the guys on the PGA Tour, and they're forcing those changes because of the PGA Tour. And when you look at dialing back the golf ball or whatever it is they want to do to it, or the driver or whatever it is they want to do to that, you're only looking at data for PGA Tour, Korn Ferry Tour, and LPGA Tour for women, instead of looking at it and saying, where's Arcos giving data for the Arcos data that comes out? Where's that data going for amateur golf? That the average amateur hits at 225 to 250, somewhere in that with their driver.
Well, that's what I think is great when the USGA comes out with every year. They show the average handicap, the handicap per state, the handicap. That's the part that I want to see, and that's where I want them to be making these decisions on the rules of golf. Let the PGA Tour have their own set of rules. I'm fine with that. Let them if they.
The problem is the USGA and the R&A are so afraid of bifurcation, and that's a big word to use on the Golfing Dad's Tavern is bifurcation,
especially at this time of night.
Right. So I think the problem that I have with that is they're so afraid of bifurcation because of the fact that you run into that issue of where's the only sport that you play by the same rules that the tour players play for. And that's been their pushing argument the whole time, is that we all play under the same rules.
And I love that. I love that about it. I love that the USGA, I love what they do for this game. But I think you just need to think about that from that standpoint of having that. If you're going to make equipment changes, that's where you make equipment changes. But I'd rather see, to be honest, I would rather see the drivers not change, keep advancing with technology, keeping with the rules of the USGA and R&A. And I want to, because you know what half of people out there do? Dave's got forgiveness now. It's everyone's buying the driver that someone's bombing out there.
Forgiveness, there it is.
That's
forgiveness.
That's the best. That's the fun thing about this sport, is that I can go out there and I can play with the same stuff. Well, the same
Within
basic
reason.
stuff that they have.
Right.
I'm not getting the tour van stuff. I mean, I have some, but I'm not getting it on a regular basis. But that's what makes this game fun, is everyone can experience it the exact same way. This is the most unbiased sport, in my opinion, across the world. With Bradley and adaptive golf, they can play in those tournaments the same way I can play in a tournament. I love that the USGA now has an adaptive open.
So, by the way, all those entries, it's funny because I follow a lot of adaptive golfers. I'm friends with Brad and a few others on social media, and we have phone numbers. I've caddied with Adam Benza, who plays in these, who caddies for Chad Pfeiffer, the Wounded Warrior that was on the big break. I know Adam and Chad very well.
Yeah.
They're good friends. And I would, they're people that I call very good friends, and I call Brad a great friend. Brad is just a great dude, and we talk frequently and text and just say what's up. And when you look at what, all of those applications for the USGA event have been posting, everybody's been posting their application to try and get in the adaptive golf tournament this year. And it excites me. I will say that there may be an arm wrestling match. Brad, by the way, I may need you to sit in on the arm wrestling match between Adam and Chad, because both of them are trying to convince me to come up to Pinehurst and caddy for them. So we might have to get that.
I'm in for that. My buddy actually worked the adaptive last year and said it was the greatest tournament he's been to. That's what the greatest thing about golf is anyone can play it.
Yeah,
anyone can play it.
The three of us.
I mean,
we're
I've
not
watched blind people play this game.
At Fenway, at Yankee Stadium, or at Citizens Bank Park. Neither of the three of us are going to step up to the plate there without hitting the Powerball.
But we've all played Bay Hill.
But we can all go play Bay Hill.
That is true.
We can't go play Augusta, but we can go play
Great
Bay
point,
Hill.
Dave.
Yeah.
But you know what we can do?
Can walk
And I'm just going to
Augusta.
throw it out that we can walk Augusta on Wednesday because we're doing it this year. And I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm done with hiding that and not talking about it. We get to go this year. So
That's our
gonna be
topic in 2 weeks.
that's going to be a fun week for us.
Hey, stay tuned for that week, not just Monday. That's going to be a week of the golfing.
Wednesday we won't be on, but we will talk about that ahead of time. We will be on
on Wednesday. We're gonna. I feel we have something Wednesday like scheduled. Is there something
I
scheduled?
hope that somebody is sober enough to drive us back from $2 beers. That's all I'm gonna say. But no, I mean, I think that there's a I like what the USGA does at certain things, but I also am afraid of what they're doing for the amateur game. Like golf has had such motivation, and Jim talked about this from COVID and the motivation that golf gained in COVID. And we're at a point here in Florida where I think the number is still 11 golf courses closing to one opening. And you're not seeing, and I'm going to be honest with you, and we all know these courses. I'll talk to them. You can't get tee times at places like Metro West right now, and they're charging $110 to play golf at Metro West right now.
I hear it's in better shape. I've been saying that for a while, but I haven't played it yet. But
I would agree. But is better shape $110 at Metro West? Like,
no.
Like I struggle with the fact that there is so much. Like when you look at what is going on with golf these days, I struggle with the fact.
I will say, like, what I saw from COVID here in Indiana was I actually saw more people out on the golf course. I do see it is tough for courses to maintain, and like that's why they're charging a lot more. But that's what I loved. I mean, that's what I loved that came out of COVID was that it was something you could do during COVID. You could go outside and play golf and walk the course.
Yeah,
and it brought back my love of walking the golf course. Like that's what I love doing that more now than hopping in a cart. But it's things like that it is tough out there. And I mean, it's sad when you see courses close because it takes away opportunity, especially when like if rates are going up. I will say I have a course out here that I love. That is a phenomenal course called Trophy Club, and they charge a great rate all the time. Sometimes their prices are higher during like peak and stuff like that, but for the most part, you can get out there for $50 on a good day, and that course is worth $125. To be honest with you, it's a links course out here in Indiana, and it is phenomenal. Underrated. So if you're here in Indiana, play Trophy Club.
Hey, I just want to comment. Brad put a comment and he said, regardless of my physical disability and my golf handicap, the fact that I can play the same course as professionals is awesome.
Yes.
And I'll take that.
I will say the same thing
I agree
you said before.
Yes. But I'm going to take that even one step further is that Brad, you are always welcome to play in my group anytime you want to. I hope you know that. And the fact that we can go out, enjoy the day, enjoy company,
kick his ass, fun. Brad.
He won't do that.
Brad, I will caddy for you, and I will help you kick his ass.
5 holes is the over/under before Steve slams a club into the ground.
You know, I haven't. You know what? The last time I slammed a club into the ground, Dave was caddying for me. So let's just say that.
Yeah, and it went that far into the ground, and I had to pull it out.
That's what she said.
So, wow, that just escalated quickly. Here comes Brewer. Here's Brewer. All right, so next week we're gonna recap Bay Hill, and we're gonna preview.
Steve, you got a special guest next week, though, don't you?
I do.
You got a special guest host.
We got a special guest host because you two knuckleheads. One of you is going to be skiing, and the other one's going to be on a boat.
I'm going to go to the slopes in Colorado. I might jump in. I might jump in.
Okay.
From the slopes.
I will send you the link anyway.
I cannot jump in.
But you cannot. I mean, you can from the pool if you want on the Disney cruise. We'll just leave it at that. But Brad, by the way, said he needs forgiveness. LOL. So forgiveness. There it is.
There you go. There you go.
So no, next week we will have. We're definitely going to have Lee back on as our Lee Tincher from Wedge FX is going to be hosting, and I think we might have another guest at least for a little while. He does have a softball game in a softball league that both of us used to play in. All three of us used to play in.
All three of us used to play in.
Yeah, all three of us used to play in that softball.
I got a lot of
is
championships
he
in that
still
league.
Playing for who's
Gang
he
Green?
playing? Gangrene, yeah.
Gangrene. I don't know who he's playing. I think he's with Bada in the co-ed league. I think he's
Okay.
Bada Bing in co-ed.
Hated Bada Bing.
Going back to our old softball days.
We're
I
never
mean,
able to beat
Dave,
Bada Bing.
Dave, you and I got a lot of championships from that league. So
Yes, we did.
So, and I'm going to try this week while we're at Bay Hill to try and get somebody to join us for at least a little bit during happy hour, and talk about maybe a players prep, because obviously the players it's my favorite tournament of the year. I went a lot when I was in college. I actually was a walking score at the players, so obviously it's one of the tournaments that means a lot to me because I've gotten to be there. Yes, that was a flex. I'm going to say that. You can all say that, jackasses. But no, I mean,
there's something else there, Steve.
don't worry about it, Steve. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Keep going. Keep going.
But no, yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun conversation. So we're gonna see what we can get and where we can go. So next week will be fun. Hope everybody enjoyed it tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show tonight. You guys, don't forget to tip your bartenders.
Your bartender.
Big thanks to Jim for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thanks to Jim from WAGC for joining us. Thank you for everybody who watched us live tonight. Hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
See you
Cheers.
next week. Cheers.
See you. Bye.